What's the difference you see in Western and Indian beauty standards, men and women? Bronzer, I don't know if you can see. You just have to let that go. Can you share some more details about what astrologer told you about your past life connection to India?
Ivana, you born to give the orders, not to receive the orders.
Would you go to Pakistan? I'm sorry. How modern or traditional are you as a couple? Oh, you're the man. You should take care of your family. How did you meet your partner? How do you navigate cultural differences? My heart! It has been a while. Your girl got engaged. I'm gonna address that in this Q&A as well. Little bit, because I've already shared quite a lot of it on my Instagram. In case you haven't seen that, I have linked that down in the description for you. I mean, without further ado, let's just get into the questions. What's the difference you see in Western and Indian beauty standards, men and women? So in the West, obviously, we love tanning. As you can see, I am also wearing bronzer. I don't know if you can see. A very, very fair skin is not seen as something beautiful. That beautiful golden tan that Jennifer Lopez has, or even a little bit darker, like a caramel skin color, that is seen as a beauty standard in the West. And we also get spray tans for that. Like, we will legit go and spray stuff on our body to be tanned. Whereas in India, it is still a beauty standard to be as fair as possible. And this goes really far as to people getting these injections which make your skin more fair. I don't know what to say about that. People are starting to rebel against it. For instance, also the cream Fair and Lovely has changed their name. However, if you look at the society and how people are behaving in daily life, I'm sorry, it is still a beauty standard. And if it has to change, it has to come from Indians themselves, who say that, yes, dusky skin is as beautiful as fair skin, which I think should be the norm, obviously. I'm planning to move to the Netherlands. How's the work culture there? I actually have a whole dedicated video about this, but the main difference that you will see between Indians and between the Dutch people is that Dutch people are very, very direct. You will instantly hear a yes or a no, and the no is shameless.
You just say your name and your country and read them. Nothing, you just want here.
Are you stupid?
I know, but tape identification.
Hell no, I'm not gonna do that.
There is this principle of honesty and openness that is leading in Dutch business communication. So people will easily tell you no to your face if they don't want to work with you. Whereas in Indian culture, things are a lot more diplomatic. The hierarchy that you see in India between seniors and upper management, that is way, way less in the Netherlands. The Netherlands does a lot less hierarchy, especially in the corporate world. Those are two things that I can already mention, but you should really watch the whole video to mentally prepare, because it is a culture shock. What's the craziest thing you've done in India? I think two things. One, jumping in the Ganges River. Oh my gosh, I'm going in. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. Cold. It's so cold. Oh my gosh. Okay. That was really amazing. The worst idea ever was getting on a local bus from Srinagar to Ladakh, by myself as a woman. I mean, everybody treated me with respect, and honestly, it was in the end fine, but I would not recommend it because the whole bus was full of men. There were maybe like 2 or 3 women for certain parts of the journey. And again, the men didn't do anything. They just were surprised to see me there. The driver really took good care of me, let me sit in the front, really kept an eye on me and everything, but that was not smart. Jumping in the Ganges, however, it's so cold. It was really smart. It was really fun. How would you think someone can move from Europe to India or do 50-50 and make an earning there? It depends on your skill set. It depends on which European country you are from. If you are from the Netherlands, the Dutch and Indians have a really good understanding. So there are a lot of opportunities for you. See, you're mentioning here also make an earning there. See, you do have to think from a contribution perspective, because just making an earning in a country that is still developing, that has a huge population, which is extremely well educated, extremely entrepreneurial, and hence makes the market here the employment market very, very competitive, you have to think like, oh, what do I add to the mix that is quite unique and that cannot be done by an Indian person? And the other way around, also when Indians go to the Netherlands, that is also how the Netherlands evaluates if that Indian person can contribute to the Dutch economy. And people with very specific skills, of which we have a shortage in the Netherlands, like a lot of engineers, they find a new career in the Netherlands because their skills are quite scarce in the Dutch economy. So the other way around, you also have to look at the Indian economy and the growth goals in the economy department and how you can contribute in that ecosystem with the unique skills that you have. Because if you're just going to offer something that an Indian person can do as well, that's not going to work. You really have to have something unique to offer, and then you can get into the work culture here. What do you think about doctors and Indian health sector? Amazing, fantastic, very underrated on the global stage. I think the world is yet to discover how amazingly educated Indian doctors are. They all go to the UK, US, Canada, Australia to study, and then they usually come back to India also because of their families, but also because they want to contribute to the growth of the country. And hence the healthcare options here are fantastic. I've spoken about this many times. I think medical tourism in India should grow a lot more than it is doing right now, and I really hope that growth comes in the future, hence why I love to highlight it. Can you share some more details about what astrologer told you about your past life connection to India? I mean, I've been to 2 astrologers in India. One was really fun. That was in Paharganj.
I am astrologer Kapoor from Delhi, and I'm doing 37 years. And I'm using I'm astrologer, palm reader, psychic reader, numerologist, and even I use my spiritual energy for healing point of view. I'm gemstone specialist.
Yeah.
I'm making the horoscope. And
I really enjoyed our sessions. It was quite funny.
Ivana, you want to give the orders, not to receive the orders.
Okay.
You are boss of yourself.
Basically, he told me that I had some unfinished business in Gokarna. To be very honest, when I was in Gokarna, I didn't necessarily feel anything, but maybe I should go there on my own terms and do it more like a solo travel trip. I don't know. Not sure. I mean, I go to astrologers because I think it is, how do you say that? I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's not something that I live my life by. However, it's interesting to hear what they have to say. Does that make sense? And then I went to another astrologer who was creeping me out. After that, actually, I have never been to an astrologer again because I just felt the energy was very dark, and I never want to experience that again. Hence why I stopped going to astrologers. Is the environment in India conducive to helping startup entrepreneurs succeed? It depends on in which city you are, because Bangalore really has that startup culture, but it's going to be a lot harder for you in Delhi or Mumbai because they have a very different economic ecosystem. For instance, Delhi is much more about politics, whereas Mumbai is much more about finance. And then Bangalore is the startup hub. So that's also where a lot of the venture capitalist firms are, where the other entrepreneurs are, where you can get a lot more support. I think being in the right environment that supports you as an entrepreneur is super important. And if we're talking about startup culture in India, that would be in Bangalore. How do you think Bangalore is for kids? We're exploring moving back from the UK, but have no idea where to start. We all have OCIs. Oh, that's wonderful. So your immigration issues are already sorted. Bangalore for kids, what to say? I think the weather is fantastic. I think the kind of global culture that you have in Bengaluru is also really nice. A lot of people from across India come to Bengaluru, but I also love the native Karnataka culture. So I think for kids, it's a great environment to see a lot from India, but also a lot from the world, and also understand the importance of the local culture. There are good international schools in Bengaluru. However, they are quite expensive from what I've heard from my friends who have kids. So you may want to do some research on that, or maybe you want to send them to a public school. However, do realize that the Indian education system can be quite brutal. Again, things that I've heard from my friends who have young kids. And then in terms of living environment, all my friends with kids, they live in a gated society who usually have amazing amenities for kids. And I mean, you also have to take into consideration, where is your family? Do you get any help from them? How much does that help mean for you? Because I think when you're raising kids, it really takes a village. Luckily, India does have that family culture. So if you are living in a gated society, it will be much easier to connect with your neighbors who also have kids and like build those relationships. But overall, Bangalore for kids, I would say it's okay. Like, it's not as polluted as other large Indian cities. So I think in terms of air quality is also okay. I don't think I can give you a black and white answer here. That's up for you to decide. You know your kids best and what they need. But these are just some considerations that I can give you. Idli versus dosa. If you have to pick only one, which one would you pick and why? You monster dosa. Because the crunch and then sometimes the softness and also the variations with the masala and no masala and then rava dosa. And I'm cheating and I don't care. Dosa. How would you compare the work-life balance in India versus Netherlands? In general, the Dutch working culture is you come in at 9, you go home at 5, 6, something like that. Overtime should be compensated. If it is not compensated, you can ask your boss or you can sometimes even demand it in a lawsuit. In general, I would say the work-life balance in the Netherlands is really good. In India, it kind of goes on 24/7. A lot of business is conducted on WhatsApp. People are available on the weekend. Today is a holiday. Today is the Shera. But, you know, some people are still working. And it also depends on which kind of sector you are in. But as an entrepreneur in both countries, it also doesn't matter because then you're working 24/7, even in the Netherlands. So I think that's more of a global perspective, if that makes sense. What do you think is a major difference between Dutch and Indian people? I have a whole series about these cultural differences, my friends. You should really check out that playlist with Indian culture shocks by a Dutch foreigner. The major difference between Dutch and Indian people: Indians don't like walking, Dutch people like walking. Might be irrelevant, but how easy/tough is it for an Indian to move to the Netherlands and get citizenship? It is definitely not easy. It doesn't necessarily matter that you're an Indian. However, Dutch immigration is just extremely strict. My parents went through this whole process. You have to basically live there for 5 years. You have to get an employer to sponsor your work visa. Then you have to learn Dutch. You have to go through an inburgeringscursus where you have to basically do a test that you understand Dutch traditions and values, where there is literally a question about when should you arrive for an appointment. And I will give the answers here. You guys need to answer them in the comments. Should you arrive for an appointment in the Netherlands 5 minutes in advance, on time, or 5 minutes late? Let me know down in the comments below, A, B, or C, and I will tell you if you have passed the Dutch immigration test. So it's not easy. But if it's any consolation for any Indian out there, the other way around for a foreigner to come to India is also definitely not easy. What kind of business you do and then what service do you provide? Is it for Indians or foreigners too can get service? Obviously I do this, social media and content creation, but that is just on the outside. The business that I do, which I barely ever display online because most of it is under NDA, is I do business consulting for Indian companies who want to get global partnerships and who also want to get global funding. I might be starting a new vertical very soon because I have seen how much interest there is from Dutch entrepreneurs to come to India, and I have literally jumped nothing less than 19 hoops in the past years to get to where I am today. But it has also taught me a lot, which is invaluable knowledge, because there are just not that many foreign entrepreneurs coming to India, and especially Dutch entrepreneurs coming to India. I have a lot to tell you about the rules here and if you want to operate as a Dutch company in India. So if you are interested in that, you can always send me an email, info@ivanaperkovic.com, because that is a service that I'm definitely going to offer very soon in the future. Are you going to watch India versus Netherlands match scheduled in Bangalore? In case you don't know, the Netherlands has joined cricket and is doing really amazing. Obviously, I'm watching that game. I'm not into sports at all, but this is becoming really fun. I'm French. My boyfriend is in Mumbai. I'd like to try to find a job there. What would you recommend? I don't know what your skill set is. So that's the hardest part about giving advice on this. Hence, I would just say LinkedIn. You can search for specific companies where you would like to work, or maybe directly get in touch with people who are in certain positions where they would need somebody with a very specific skill set like yours. Have you ever visited coastal part of Karnataka? You'll love beaches out there. Yes, I have multiple times. There's a whole series on Bangalore, on Gokarna. Like, just look it up in the playlist. Would you go to Pakistan? No, I wouldn't, because it would give me problems with immigration here in India. If you have been in certain countries around the world who are not friendly with India, it might make your immigration process in India more complicated, and I'm very, very conscious of that. I don't want to get in trouble with Indian immigration over, tourism. That doesn't make sense in my book. Did you think 10 years ago you'll fall in love with an India and its food so much? No way! Seriously, my life turned out so much better than I could have imagined. I love it. Start with eating pineapple on pizza, you monster! I don't know what's worse, the suggestions that these days I'm getting for meat dishes, with people assuming that I eat meat. I am vegetarian, people. Please stop recommending me meat dishes. But this might be the worst suggestion ever. Ew. I visited the Netherlands and tried their incredible food. Lots of fried food, but how people are so fit? How? Lol. It's just a culture that you remain active. Lots of walking, lots of cycling. But it is also changing. Obesity is becoming a problem in the Netherlands. But if you would ask me why most people are so fit, definitely walking and cycling would be hands down the ways in which people stay fit the easiest. If you had to propose your partner, which city and what unique way will you choose to do so? Exactly the way he proposed to me. How modern or traditional are you as a couple? Thanks, bye. Okay. I think we are traditional in certain areas of our relationship and then very modern in other areas of our relationship. So the areas in which we are very traditional are kids, marriage, family, those kind of things, because we both have been through traumatic heartbreaks where we have both tried to live the YOLO single life and noticed that, that brings a lot of loneliness, and that is, I don't think, the answer to life. We are very just committed to the idea of family, of true partnership, spending the rest of our life together. For that, mostly for legal reasons, I feel marriage is kind of obligatory. I talk more about that in my newsletter because there are just so many legal regulations that apply to you as a married couple, which you won't get if you are not married, and the same goes for kids. Yeah, I think we are super, super traditional in that department. But then when it comes down to equality, let's call it like that. So for instance, finance, I think we are very modern in that department. Mental health, we are very modern in that department. Finance, what I mean by that, obviously I'm working, obviously I'm earning my own money. And then also when it comes to paying the bills, I don't mind paying in a restaurant or, even taking care of our family or something like that. And we have gone through a growth phase there, where he has come from the more traditional side to the more modern side. And I don't like to put that pressure on him either. Like, oh, you're the man, you should take care of your family. Like, no, we are both very modern in that department. And then when it comes down to mental health, I think, him growing up with a lot of sisters and me growing up with my brother, I think we have a lot of empathy for the opposite gender. I think in that sense, we have created a lot of space for each other to take a lot of freedom. So for instance, if I want to dress sexy, he will never even question it. He's my biggest hype man. And then the other way around, if he is sad, I will never, ever, ever be that person who says like, oh, man up, men don't cry. I'm like, please cry, please get therapy if you need it. So yeah, I think when it comes down to the topics of equality in genders, I think we are super, super modern in that department. However, when it comes down to the foundation of a relationship, so family, marriage, children, I think we are quite traditional in that department. What does your ideal day look like? There are different variations. Usually it would involve some really nice weather, some hot weather, maybe a beach, lots of pampering, amazing good food, and obviously the people who I love. After traveling the world so much as a solo woman, I just now love to be surrounded by the people who I love and spend as much time with them as I possibly can. And then if there's good food, good weather, pampering, we are in for an amazing day. How did you meet your partner? How do you navigate cultural differences? I met my partner through a dating app, and we navigate cultural differences by talking about them and seeing if we can find mutual ground. In general, we can, like I would say 80% of the time, because obviously when we met, we discussed a lot of things. Like I discussed marriage and kids on our second date. So cultural differences, because we have the same set of morals and values, usually we find some kind of mutual ground where we can, you know, come together and find a mutual solution. However, those 20% of the times when we cannot agree, we just agree to disagree. And he does his own thing and I do my own thing, and you just have to let that go. I don't think it's necessarily an intercultural relationship kind of thing. I think in any relationship, those kind of things happen where you just stumble upon certain topics where you cannot agree. And I think it's good to let those topics go and just maybe like choose your own path in there. I mean, everybody's also an individual, right? So you can never like be always on the same page. Hi, sweetie, what do you use for your hair? It grows so fast. Well, I stopped going to traditional hairdressers because they always used to cut a lot off from my hair. So I just cut my own hair once a year, and I think that has really contributed to my growth. Can you speak this really fast? Hottentotententoonstelling. It's a Dutch tongue twister, but yes, I can. No questions, just want to tell you that we are honored to have you here. I love your work. My heart! Thank you so much. If you want to watch more of my videos, then I have linked some playlists down in the description below, and I will try to put up a new travel/city video for you guys up soon. I have something up my sleeve and I'm very excited to share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed this Q&A, and I will see you in the next video.